Today, let's paint a Freesia flower with two colors at the same time. Hi friends, I'm Olga Koelsch, watercolor artist, teacher and a book author. Welcome to my studio. Very typical color for Freesias, either yellow or very light orange. So I prepared very nice amount of very diluted orange color. I bathe my brush. I load my brush with this nice watery mix, and with the other brush I grab alizarin crimson or any pink you like, and I load the tip of the brush, just the tip of the brush I cover with pink. Now I find a nice spot for my first flower. I press my brush onto the paper like this, and then I try to hold the center of the brush at the same place and move the tip of the brush. And I add some wiggling moves, and then I roll my brush a little bit, and then I lift my brush. Now let's paint another one. Same approach. I firstly load my brush with this very diluted light orange. You can also create light yellow, for example. And then with the other brush, I just load the tip of the brush. So I paint with brush on the other brush. Very bold mix, almost right from the pen. And then I find a nice spot for the other bloom. I want it to be a little bit like this, a little bit on the top. So I press my brush, and again I move my brush, but I want to make it a little bit shorter, therefore I lift my brush a little bit quicker, and then I wash my brush, dry it with a paper towel, and I can remove some puddles. Usually Freesias, they have a bigger flower and then they gradually getting smaller and smaller, gradually reduce the size. Therefore I switched to a smaller brush. It was number 12 before, now I will use number 10. Just usual brown synthetic brushes. Now I would like to grab orange, to load my brush with orange, and I can just slightly touch my palette with pink. It's alizarin crimson, just the tip of the brush, and then I will arrange another smaller bud in the same principle, rolling my brush, trying to keep the middle of the brush, bottom of the hairy part at the middle, lift my brush, and I can correct with clean brush all the rest. Now once buds are getting smaller, they also getting a little bit lighter, more into the green side, so I keep loading my brush with my orange, with my initial orange, but now instead of loading it with pink, I will load it with same orange, but in bolder mix. Let's see. And I will step aside slightly. Same move, and then I lift my brush like this. Now let's create a couple of buds just with diluted orange mix and top of orange, bold orange, very small ones, one brush stroke, lift up. Now I can even create super diluted mix with greens. Same principle, I just use super diluted mix, and I actually thinking I will switch to a smaller size, number 6. So I dilute my brush with this green, and same principle, I press my brush, move it a little bit aside, and I lift my brush. I can even correct slightly some dots. At this side, it's actually would be easier to make it from the tip to pressing the brush in slightly opposite direction, like this. Now let's put our Freesia on a stem. I will use my smaller brush. I will prepare green mix, but as it is, I don't like that so much. I will add a little bit of raw sienna to give it a bit of olive green touch. And then I find a nice line. Then I will connect this branch with a stem. A stem can be relatively straight. And then let's set up all the buds on the branch with a couple of green brush strokes. I'm just pressing my brush, slightly overlapping with buds. The smaller buds are the smaller green brush strokes you also make, like this. Maybe even a couple of very small, cute details at the very end. Now we can add, now I would like to switch to my middle brush, it's number 10, and add some greenery, one green leaf around, and one more like this. Once it all dries a little bit, we can add some accents. For example, you can use alizarin crimson, the same color as we used for the tips. Make sure that the previous layer is dry. You can add a couple of details just with the tip of the brush. Sliding your brush a little bit down. You can also use your orange mix for that purpose. If we add a touch of orange on the top of the green, it will make a feeling of slightly open bud. So, and let's finalize it with greenery details. Same green mix, but slightly darker and bolder, creamier. Some accents. And details. For example, I would like to set up that green leaf behind the long one. Therefore, I add some shade into it, and then just create nice details around with the tip of the brush. Maybe veins, middle vein. It would be also nice to add touch of darker tone at the bottom of this branch. Always like to add some details using the tip of the brush, very random brush strokes, and our Freesia is ready. Thank you so much for painting with me. I hope you enjoyed the lesson. I hope you had a great time. Looking forward for your feedback. what would you like to paint next, and not necessarily flowers. See you soon. Bye-bye.